for the win. None less. What up, y'all? What's up? My name is Kashaya, your host with Ls2Elevation. And today I would like to discuss righteousness fulfilled in us. And I will be coming from Romans 8. It's a chunk of Romans 8, but I'm only going to really be focusing on like one or two of the scriptures for this discussion. All right, so Romans 8:4, right? It talks about that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. Okay, so this topic popped out to me as I was doing a study on something else concerning victory. But it was interesting because the section title was, it talked about the strife of the two natures under the law. So the two natures are the flesh and then the spirit, right? But it talks about how righteousness can be fulfilled in us as believers, right? When we walk after the spirit and not after the flesh. And so in the world, that is often sometimes difficult to do because there are so many things that uh fall under walking after the flesh, right? Adultery, fornication, lust, envy, um strife, just jealous, all types of different things are considered um walking after the flesh, right? But when we walk after the spirit, there is a uniqueness to us, right? There's something that is different because those who are kind of trapped in walking after the flesh have all these things that kind of make them just ugly in spirit, if that's sayable. It makes them ugly in spirit, right? So when you are envying, when you fornication, adultery, all of those things make us ugly in spirit. And for anybody that came to Christ, then you had a past that made you ugly in spirit. I know I have. And maybe some of you can also relate to that, right? Before you came to Christ, there were a lot of things that you were doing that did not fall under the category of um walking in the spirit. And so righteousness can be fulfilled in us when we strive to walk after the spirit and not walking in our flesh. Another scripture that I want to discuss under this topic is Romans 8 10. And Romans 8:10 states, "And if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness." So when Christ is in us, our body is dead, right? Meaning that, excuse me, y'all. Meaning that we're dead to our flesh, basically, right? So our body is dead, but our spirit is life. And there are fruits of the spirit that will show and highlight in us. So the fruits of the spirit, just some of them: I love, joy, peace, long suffering, meekness, patience. All of these are fruits of the spirit. And when we strive to walk in these things versus walking more so in the flesh, then righteousness can be fulfilled in us. Um, every day maybe won't be a righteous day, right? Someday you might have where um maybe you're in a strife with somebody, or um maybe you got caught up in doing emulations or whatever the case may be. But righteousness can be fulfilled in us. And there are two natures under the law. We're either going to choose to live after our flesh, or we're going to choose to live after the spirit. And so there is a distinction about you. There's something that makes you different when you strive to walk in righteousness, which is walking in the spirit versus walking in the flesh. So, another thing that we're going to add to this. We're going to make this a two-in-one. I was going to make this other topic a separate one, but I'm going to just keep going because it's only 5 minutes anyway. So, the other little note that I had is, what is your mind subject to? So, when we read Romans 8 6 through 8, let me do that for y'all. Let me get my handy dandy Bible. It says, "For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they are in the flesh, excuse me, so then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. So ultimately, what is your mind subject to, right? Is your mind subject to carnal things? And are those carnal things causing you not to be pleasing in the sight of God? So not only when we strive to walk in righteousness, right? Which is walking in the spirit. Love, joy, peace, temperance, all of those things are walking in the spirit. But we can also kind of tell which direction we're going based off what our mind is subject to. Like, what is our thought subject to, right? And so, if your mind is subject to carnal things, then it makes it harder for you to be able to walk in the spirit because when your mind is subject to carnal things, you're pretty much operating in the flesh. And so righteousness can be fulfilled in us when we strive to walk in the spirit and when we also take um consideration concerning what our mind is subject to. So when we find our mind being subject to carnal things, then we're most likely walking in our flesh, right? If our mind is subject to carnal things, then we're pretty much walking in our flesh. But when our mind is subject to things of the spirit, then we are pleasing to God when we do so. So that is the message for today. I am in my car, so there are other cars going by. So if you heard some little vroom vroom and stuff like that in the background, then that's what's taking place. But yeah, I'll catch y'all later. And hopefully you have a great Sabbath. And if you're somewhere cold, wrap up. Okay, I need to go find me some wool socks because my toes is frozen. It's cold outside, but it's still, it's doable. Winter ain't too crazy. I seen the devil talking about it's gonna be a real cold winter for the cat ladies. I ain't got no cat, so I don't think I can relate to that. But for y'all cat ladies, it ain't that cold. Okay, it's cold, but it's y'all gonna be good. We all gonna be good. At least the good people, not those doing crazy stuff to people kids. I don't know about I can't speak for them. It's blood on their hands. But walk in the spirit and not after carnal things. So make sure your mind is not subject to carnal things and do your best cuz I know some days are very trying. But yeah, love you later. Righteousness can be fulfilled in us as long as we keep our minds subject to things that are of the spirit and not carnal things. You know? Love y'all. Later. Have a great day. Peace.